and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I have another book talk video to share with you guys. And today we're talking about Losing You by Nicci French. Now what's interesting about this author is that it's actually a husband and wife team. They're an English couple, Nicci Gerard and Sean French. And they have written a ton of books based on the little page here in the front of the novel where they have all their titles listed. There's a bunch. So this is the first book of theirs that I've read, and it's actually a few years old. I think this came out in 2005, so it's not a new release, but I saw it at Walmart. It looked interesting, so I thought I would pick it up and give it a read. Now this book is a bit of a mystery, not really a thriller, more of a suspenseful mystery. One thing that put me off when I first started reading is there's actually no chapters. It's just one big block of text, and it happens sort of in real time. Say 4 to 6 hours in this woman's life, and there's no time jumps and there's no breaks, which is an interesting way to write a novel, but I did find the lack of chapters a bit off-putting, like I said, because you know, sometimes you just want to have that place where you can put it down and kind of have completed the final thought of what was happening. But I digress. Anyway, this book is about a woman named Nina. It's her 40th birthday. It's December 18th. And on this day, her and her two children, 15-year-old Charlotte, who's referred to as Charlie, and I think like 9 or 10-year-old Jackson, and Nina's new boyfriend Christian are getting ready to go on a trip to Florida. So they're going from England to Florida for Christmas holidays. And it's their first trip together. Everyone's pretty excited. And you know, what better time to leave for vacation than on your 40th birthday? So the day starts off pretty normal. The night before, Charlie, the 15-year-old daughter, she was at a sleepover with a bunch of girls who she'd had a tumultuous sort of relationship with. The year before, the semester before, they had sort of tormented her a bit, but the parents got involved and sort of put an end to it. And now the girls are making more of an effort to be friends with Charlie. So she was at a sleepover at one of their houses. Now, as they're getting ready, so Nina at this point, she's packed. She knows Charlie needs to come home and pack. Christian, her boyfriend, he's heading to the airport from work, I think. I think he's a doctor. I don't know why I think that. He's something. Anyway, he's heading to the airport independently, and they're going to meet him there because Nina just knew they wouldn't be ready to go with him at that time. So she's trying to get everything together, and then quite out of the blue, people start coming to her door. Like, she is in a towel, getting ready, getting dressed. She goes down when she hears a knock on the door, and it's a whole bunch of neighborhood people, and they're like, happy birthday. And she puts together in her mind that this is an impromptu surprise party. And she gets word that her daughter, Charlie, had arranged all of this to have just a quick surprise party before they head to the airport. So now it's about 2 hours until they have to leave. The party's happening, and then as time goes by, Nina notices that Charlie's not amongst the people who are at the surprise party. As time starts to pass, she starts to get really flustered, really overwhelmed. She wants these people gone, and she needs to find out where Charlie is. Like, why is Charlie not here, and where the heck is she? Nina finds it hard to believe that Charlie would be late, especially for, like, forget the surprise party, be late for leaving for the airport because she was so excited for the trip to Florida. So from there, a lot of things start to happen, and the first, I would say 3/4 of the book is fairly repetitive. It's a lot of Nina talking to friends and neighbors and eventually the police and repeating the same things over and over again, saying she can't imagine that Charlie would have run away from home, something's very wrong, maybe she was taken. Like, it's just that repeated over and over again, which I'm sure is very realistic. I'm sure that's what you would be doing, you know, just frantically repeating yourself if in a situation like that. But in a book, it does get a bit tiresome to read. And there were a few pages where I found myself just sort of skimming the pages and just turning it because I could see that the dialogue was the same over and over again. But then once we reach the point where we're getting towards the end, about the, like I said, the 3/4 way point, things really start to pick up and we start to get more and more information about where Charlie might be, about who might have hurt her or taken her. And as things go on, it becomes more and more clear that Charlie did not run away of her own volition. Like she didn't just run away, she was probably taken. And it just kind of, you start to spend a lot of time guessing who has the motive to take her. And it's set up pretty good in that there are many people that it could have been. It could have been, you know, one of their neighbor's teenage sons who's kind of troubled and moody and who seemed to have a bit of an obsession with Charlie. There's her boyfriend, you know, the friends that used to bully her. Her dad eventually becomes a suspect. A teacher at the school. And so it just kind of, it's a mystery. And it kept me, the last part really kept me turning the page trying to figure it out. It wasn't a huge shock, the ending, which I'll tell you about it now in a second, but I won't give you spoilers without a warning. But yeah, the ending wasn't too much of a twist for me. It seemed, or not twist, but it wasn't too much of a shocker. I was kind of like, okay, that sounds about right. But yeah, it was a decent book. If you love mysteries, definitely would recommend this. I don't know how far out of my way I would go to read more books by Nicci French, but I enjoyed this one for the most part. So now I'm going to get into the spoiler and tell you guys who it was and if they find her. So if you don't want to hear about that, now's the time to click off. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've already read this or if you plan to. And for the rest of you guys, here's what ended up happening. After a lot of searching and taking things into her own hands, Nina gets really frustrated with the way the police are kind of like, she'll turn up, it's fine, just go about your business, and in a couple hours I'm sure she'll come home. But Nina is not having that because she knows in her heart that this is not something Charlie would do. Charlie wouldn't blow off vacation, blow off her mother's birthday. That's just not the kind of kid Charlie is. So even though the police are very much against it, Nina kind of pummels her way through town, questioning people, trying to talk to people, trying to find out who saw her last, who knows what about her. Eventually, there comes up this bit of info about a girl named Olivia who was from out of town, but who had come into town during the summer to take kayak lessons. And while she was taking kayak lessons, she met Charlie, and she also met the teacher from the school, Rick, who is Nina's friend, who taught Charlie in school and also teaches the kayak lessons. And so Rick starts having an affair with this young teenage girl, Olivia, and eventually Charlie finds out about it. And so when the girl Olivia breaks things off with Rick, he ends up killing her. And Charlie begins to have her suspicions about this. And while Nina is tearing through town trying to find Charlie, she comes across Olivia's body. At first she thinks it's Charlie, but then she sees that it isn't. Of course, she's very relieved on the one hand, but also horrified because who's this? She eventually puts two and two together, puts the connection together, puts it together in her mind that it was Rick. And with some very impressive sleuthing, manages to find Charlie before Rick is able to go back to where he stashed her and kill her. So it's a happy ending for all except for Rick, who ends up drowning in the ocean. And yeah, so there you go. It's a bit of a whirlwind, but it was a decent read, and if you see it, I would definitely recommend picking it up. And do you know what? I'm sure there are a ton of people that would love this. This just isn't my personal cup of tea. But, you know, they've got a ton of books out, so obviously somebody loves the heck out of them. And it looks like they have a series because it says Frida Klein novels. 2, 4, 6, 8, And there's 8 of those, and then there's other novels. So, I mean, that's kind of fun. So yeah, I definitely feel like there is an audience that would love this. Just wasn't my perfect read, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, you guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope your weather is getting a little nicer where you live. It is where I am, and it's finally sunny. And it's just nice to feel the sunshine more often than not these days. We need it. Anyway, you guys, I will see you again later this weekend with a read with me video where we read chapter 4 and possibly 5. Donna, I saw your comment, of Emily of New Moon. Bye, guys.